You know that feeling when the room is quiet, your phone battery is dying, and suddenly it hits you. I don't want to feel like this anymore, but I also don't know how to stop. So you open another app, start another show, pour another drink, dive into work, or scroll until your eyes burn. And for a moment, it works. The ache blurs, the sadness fades, until it doesn't. Today we're going to talk about ending sadness without running away from it. No toxic positivity, no pretending, no spiritual bypassing, just a clear, practical path to being okay again, without numbing your life away. By the end of this video, you'll understand why sadness shows up, how escapism quietly keeps you stuck, and what to actually do instead, step by step. If you've tried distracting, achieving, or staying busy and still feel empty, stay with this. There is a different way. In this video, we're going to build a new relationship with sadness, one that doesn't depend on constant distraction or escape. We'll unpack what sadness really is, why your brain reaches for quick fixes, and how to gently shift from numbing out to actually healing. We'll go through practical tools you can start using today, even if you feel heavy, unmotivated, or exhausted. We'll talk about emotional literacy, body-based regulation, honest self-inquiry, and how to hold sadness without letting it swallow your life. This isn't a magic trick, it's a skill set, and anyone can learn it. If you're interested in this kind of deep, honest inner work, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. And try to stay with me until the end because the later sections weave everything together into a clear, usable framework you can return to whenever sadness shows up again. Let's start with this. Sadness is not a malfunction, it's a signal. Biologically, sadness slows us down so we can process loss, change, or disappointment. It's your system saying something important happened. Please pay attention. When we label sadness as a problem to get rid of, we immediately become vulnerable to escapism. If sadness is bad, then anything that temporarily removes it feels good, even if it quietly damages us over time. Escapism can look like obvious numbing, drinking, drugs, compulsive sex, but it can also look like things society praises: overworking, constant productivity, non-stop self-improvement, always listening to something so your brain never has to be silent. The common thread is this: I cannot be with myself as I am. To end sadness without escapism, we first need to stop treating sadness as an enemy and start seeing it as communication. You don't have to obey it, but you do have to listen. Escapism isn't always obvious. It often hides inside things that look productive, healthy, or even spiritual. You might call it grinding, healing, or staying positive, but the question is, why are you doing it? Ask yourself, if you stop this activity, work, gym, constant talking, binge watching, even meditation, what feelings might catch up to you? If the answer is, I'd probably fall apart, it's worth paying attention. Escapism is basically an emotional anesthetic. It says, I'll deal with this later, but later never comes. And the more we avoid sadness, the more it quietly shapes our choices: who we date, what jobs we stay in, what we tolerate. This video is not about demonizing pleasure or rest or entertainment. It's about noticing when they stop being choices and start becoming compulsions, automatic habits you use so you don't have to feel. Awareness is step one. Without it, nothing changes. To end sadness without escaping it, you need emotional literacy, the ability to name and differentiate what you're actually feeling. Many of us grew up with only three labels: fine, stressed, and terrible. That's not enough. Sadness can hide behind anger. I'm pissed instead of I'm hurt. Numbness, I don't care instead of I'm overwhelmed. Or anxiety, I'm scared this will happen again. Learning the nuances gives your brain a sense of control and clarity. Try this. When you feel low, don't jump straight to distraction. Pause. Ask, is this sadness, grief, disappointment, shame, loneliness, or something else? Use a feelings list if you need one. Then add, because. and finish the sentence without overthinking. For example, I feel disappointed because I thought they'd understand me. Naming doesn't fix the emotion, but it dramatically reduces the chaos. You're turning fog into a map, and maps are navigable. Sadness isn't just a story in your mind, it's a physical experience in your body. Tight chest, heavy limbs, hollow stomach, lump in the throat, your nervous system is involved. If you only argue with sadness in your head, you'll miss half the battle. Instead of escaping into your phone, try a 60-90 second body check-in. Sit or lie down. Close your eyes if that feels okay, and scan from your forehead down to your toes. Ask, where is this sadness living in my body right now? What does it feel like? Tightness, heaviness, burning, buzzing. Then, experiment with small adjustments. Soften your jaw, unhunch your shoulders. Take 3 slow breaths with extra long exhales. Imagine breathing around the sensation rather than trying to blow it away. You're training your nervous system to stay with discomfort without drowning in it. That capacity, the ability to feel without fleeing, is one of the core skills for ending sadness without escapism. Let's talk about attention. Escapism hijacks your attention and aims it anywhere but where you are. Ending sadness without escape means gently training your attention back to the present, without judgment. One simple practice: the 5-3-1 check-in. First, ask, what are 5 things I can see right now? Name them slowly. Then, what are 3 things I can feel in my body? Could be your feet on the floor, your back on the chair, your breath in your nose. Finally, what is one emotion I'm feeling? And name it. This isn't about making the sadness vanish. It's about anchoring yourself so you're not pulled into old stories or panicky predictions. When the mind wants to escape into endless what ifs or numbing, you're saying, for this moment, I'm just here. That one moment of presence breaks the automatic loop and creates space for choice instead of compulsion. Many people try to journal away their sadness by writing pages of ranting that leave them more activated than before. Instead, think of journaling as structured witnessing. Try this 3-part prompt when you feel the urge to escape. 1. What happened? Just the facts, like you're a camera. 2. What am I telling myself about what happened? The story, assumptions, self-judgments. 3. What else could be true? Not fake positivity, just alternative, realistic angles. For example, what happened? They canceled our plans. Story, I'm not important. What else could be true? They're overwhelmed. This sucks, but it doesn't define my worth. This practice doesn't deny the sadness. It protects you from unnecessary suffering created by harsh interpretations. You still get to feel disappointed or lonely. You're just not building a whole identity around one painful moment. Over time, this kind of journaling turns your mind from an attacker into an ally. Sometimes sadness is not just about one event. It's tied to deeper, older wounds, childhood neglect, chronic criticism, emotional abandonment. No amount of Netflix or hustle will resolve that kind of pain because it's not asking for distraction, it's asking for recognition. One powerful question is, what does this sadness remind me of? Not to spiral, but to connect dots. Maybe the loneliness you feel after a breakup echoes being left out at school. Maybe criticism at work reactivates the feeling of never being good enough for a parent. When you see the pattern, you can respond differently. You might say to yourself, this is old pain being stirred up. It's valid, but it's not the whole truth of who I am now. Sometimes talking with a therapist or counselor is the most direct route here. That's not escapism, that's support for going toward your sadness with guidance instead of running from it alone. Loneliness amplifies sadness more than almost anything else. When you hurt and feel like no one sees you, The urge to escape gets louder, more scrolling, more casual hookups, more staying busy. Ending sadness without escapism doesn't mean doing it alone. It means choosing connection that supports feeling, not avoiding. That could be a trusted friend you can text. I don't need fixing, I just need someone to hear me. It could be a support group, a therapist, an online community where emotional honesty is welcome. When you share your sadness with someone safe, you're not dumping, you're co-regulating. Your nervous system literally borrows their stability. Heart rate slows, breathing evens, shame decreases. If you don't have that person yet, start small. Participate in spaces where vulnerability is normal, not mocked. Practice saying slightly truer things like, "Today's been rough," instead of "all good." Little acts of honesty begin to dissolve the isolation that makes sadness feel unbearable. A huge driver of both sadness and escapism is self-judgment. I shouldn't feel this way. I'm too sensitive. Other people have it worse. That inner critic doesn't reduce sadness. It layers shame on top of it. Self-compassion isn't about self-pity. It's about telling yourself the truth. Kindly. One simple script you can use. 1. Mindfulness. This is a moment of sadness. 2. Common humanity. Other people feel this too. I'm not uniquely broken. 3. Kindness. May I be gentle with myself right now. Say it quietly, even if it feels awkward. You're rewiring how you respond to your own pain. When you treat sadness like a scared child instead of an enemy, the urge to escape softens. You no longer need to outrun your feelings if you're not attacking yourself for having them. This makes all the other tools, breath, journaling, connection, actually usable. Here's the paradox. The more you try to never feel sad, the more power sadness has over your life. Real freedom isn't the absence of sadness. It's the capacity to feel it without collapsing or escaping. Think of emotional fitness like physical fitness. You don't build strength by avoiding all resistance. You build it by meeting manageable levels of challenge with support and rest. Similarly, you build emotional strength by allowing tolerable doses of sadness, staying with them, and noticing that you survive. You might tell yourself, I'm going to spend 5 minutes simply feeling this sadness, using my breath and body awareness, and then I'll choose what I need next. That could be a walk, music, a call with a friend, not as an escape, but as care. Over time, sadness stops being this endless, undefined threat. It becomes a visitor you know how to host and eventually send on its way. To make this real in your life, you need small, repeatable practices, not a one-time emotional breakthrough. Let's put the pieces together into a simple daily rhythm. You might choose a 2-minute morning body scan, a one-page evening journal using the 3 prompts, and one act of honest connection each day. Sending a real message instead of a meme, or answering, "How are you?" a bit more truthfully. Add a rule around escapism. For example, when I feel the urge to scroll or binge, I'll first do a 5-3-1 check-in. You're not banning pleasure. You're inserting awareness before autopilot. Expect resistance. Part of you is used to numbing. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're rewiring. Track small wins. I stayed with my feelings for 1 extra minute today. That's progress. This is how sadness slowly transforms. From something that controls you into something you can sit beside, learn from, and move through. Let's recap the key ideas so you can remember and apply them. First, sadness is not a defect, it's a signal. When you treat it as communication instead of an enemy, you're less vulnerable to escapism. Second, escapism can look like numbing or overfunctioning. The question is not, is this activity good or bad, but am I using it to avoid feeling? Awareness is your first tool. Third, build emotional literacy. Name what you feel and why. Combine that with body-based practices, breath, posture, sensation tracking to keep your nervous system grounded. Fourth, Use structured journaling to separate events from stories and practice self-compassion instead of self-attack. Fifth, don't do this alone. Safe connection and, when needed, professional support help you move towards sadness without being overwhelmed. Finally, think long-term. Small daily practices gradually make you someone who can feel deeply without needing to run away. If you're still here, it means some part of you is genuinely ready to stop numbing and start relating differently to your sadness. That willingness matters more than any perfect technique. Your next step is simple. Choose one practice from this video to try today. Maybe it's the 531 check-in before you open social media tonight. Maybe it's a one-page journal with the 3 prompts. Maybe it's sending a real message to someone saying, "Hey, I've been feeling low and I'm practicing being more honest about it." If you found this helpful and want more content on emotional healing, self-awareness, and inner strength, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss upcoming videos. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. What does escapism look like for you? And which tool are you going to experiment with this week? You don't have to escape your sadness to be okay. You just need a kinder, more skillful way to meet it. Let's keep building that together.